Out of all the ways you can acquire Mew, My Pokémon Ranch is rarely mentioned. Which, don't get me wrong, it makes sense. It was only available through the Wii shop, and since that shut down in 2019, you can't legally get the game without homebrewing your console. And that's if you own a Wii, or even a Wii U. So wait, why am I bringing up a forgotten WiiWare game in a video about Mew? Well, because buried inside this overlooked storage box is one of the weirdest Mew-related interactions in the entire franchise. On the surface, My Pokémon Ranch doesn't seem special at all, and when the Pokémon look like this, it's clear to see why. But it also isn't an RPG, there's no battling, and there isn't even much of a story. It's essentially a glorified fish tank, which is exactly why almost nobody would expect it to hold onto one of the franchise's most interesting secrets. And the strangest part? The game never tells you outright that it's there. Unless you knew exactly what you were looking for, you'd probably never stumble across it on your own. The game starts out with Haley welcoming you and explaining what My Pokémon Ranch is all about, and her vision for what she wants it to be. She acts as your guide, introducing new features and giving you reasons to keep coming back as the ranch fills up with more and more Pokemon. The entire premise of it is that Haley is trying to create a bustling ranch full of Pokemon. Every day she'll bring a new Pokemon of her own to live there, slowly growing the ranch one visitor at a time. Of course, one Pokemon a day would take forever. So that's where you come in. The main draw of the game is by connecting your copies of Pokemon Diamond or Pearl. You can transfer your own Pokemon to the ranch, where they'll roam around, play with toys, and interact with one another, which I'll say certainly helps them stand out. Along with the interactions, one of the cool features is if you deposit a legendary Pokemon or a shiny Pokemon, they'll have sparkles. Now, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed I never mentioned Platinum. And that's because the update that added its compatibility was only ever released in Japan. This update added many new features that wouldn't have saved the game, but it wouldn't have hurt it. And another thing, while I was making this video, on July 4th, 2026, YouTuber Sir Toasty Toast uploaded a video detailing the fan-made release of the Platinum update for US versions of the game, nearly 2 decades after its original release. And that can be installed on any homebrewed system. I'll leave the information for that video in the description below. But as more Pokemon move in, the ranch expands with new areas, decorations, and features, giving you a reason to keep checking back. The first time you connect your game to the ranch, she'll tell you the current completion progress of your Pokédex. It's pretty clear the system was designed to help players complete it. But when I connected my game, Haley immediately realized there wasn't much she could do for me. It's clear that Nintendo had high aspirations for this game because there's different dialogue if your Pokédex is completed. As the ranch continues to grow though, Haley starts asking for your help in a different way. She'll request a specific Pokemon, and if you bring her what she's looking for, she'll trade you one of her own in return. For a while, Haley's requests are exactly what you'd expect. As I worked through them, things started shifting though. That is if they weren't a repeated Pokemon from before. Then I hit one of the game's first major milestones. Once your ranch has deposited 250 Pokemon, it's upgraded to level 15, and Haley asks you for a Phione. Eevee isn't exactly common in Sinnoh, and evolving it into a Phione takes effort, so this was already a step up from everything before it. So I brought her one, and in return, Haley gives you her own Pokemon. A level 50 Phione. Now that's where the system changes. Phione isn't a rare reward, it's a mythical Pokemon. While being one of the worst Pokemon in the entire series, it's still something you don't expect to see tied to an old Wii storage game at all. And even then, it still isn't the end. Because after a trade like that, there's only one question left. What's still waiting at the bottom of the list? Now, if you didn't think that, you think at 250 Pokemon, you've reached capacity at the ranch. But that's not true. The ranch continues to grow, and so does its storage capacity. At its final upgrade, it expands to hold up to 1,000 Pokemon total. And when you deposit your 999th Pokemon, Haley appears with something unexpected. A Mew. She doesn't explain it in any special way besides saying she brought a rare Pokemon, and the animation plays out the same as if it's just another Pokemon joining the ranch. And then Haley gives you her final request. With the ranch essentially at capacity, Haley asks for one last Pokemon, but this time not a specific Pokemon. She just wants an egg. So that's what I did, and that also triggers the final reward. As you can probably guess, the reward for the egg is that Mew, a Pokemon that has eluded so many players, readily available in a WiiWare game from 2008. Looking back at it, what makes this Mew so fascinating isn't that it's rare. Pokemon has distributed Mew dozens of different ways over the years. What makes this one different is where it's hidden. A forgotten Wii game with nothing really special about it. Just a slow progression system that quietly rewards the players who stuck with it long enough to reach the end. Today, My Pokémon Ranch is almost impossible for new players to experience the way it was originally intended. The Wii shop is gone, and unless you already own the game or preserve it yourself, this little piece of Pokemon history has effectively been left behind. It's a reminder that some of the most interesting moments in this series aren't found on the main games at all. And that makes me wonder, how many other pieces of Pokemon history have we already forgotten? If I'm being totally honest, though a lot of the negativity towards it is warranted, especially if you were excited for it to come out and were expecting something relatively good on the Wii in 2008. But I'll be honest, even while editing this video, I've just been having it sit on the side of me. So I wouldn't say I love it, but it is kind of funny to see me get carried away by a Porygon. It's interesting, but it only appeals to a certain audience. If you enjoy this type of content and want to see more of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.